The command deck of the UE's Defiance was quiet, except for the soft hum of computers. General Jake Morrison stood at the main viewing screen, watching the planet Kepler 442b spin slowly below them. The world looked peaceful from space, with blue oceans and green continents that reminded him of Earth. But peace was about to end. "Sir, we have an incoming transmission," said Captain Lisa Brooks from her station. "It's from the Zephyrian Empire. Priority 1. Morrison turned around. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his gray eyes were sharp. At 55, he had fought in more battles than most soldiers could imagine. The Proxima Wars had made him famous, but they had also made him careful, very careful. "Put it on the main screen," he ordered. The viewing screen changed from the planet to show an alien face. The creature was tall and thin, with dark green skin that looked like leather. Its eyes were yellow and cold, like a snake's eyes. Metal implants covered parts of its skull, and sharp teeth showed when it spoke. "I am Emperor Vexkar the Eternal, ruler of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. Its voice was deep and full of hate. "You humans have spread through space like a disease. You take worlds that belong to us. You build colonies where you should not be." Morrison crossed his arms, but said nothing. Around the command deck, his officers watched in silence. They had been expecting this message for months. "We have watched you for too long," the Emperor continued. "You are weak. You are soft. You do not deserve to live among the stars. I give you one choice, human. Take all your people back to your home world. Leave the galaxy to those who are strong enough to rule it." The alien's eyes grew brighter. "If you refuse, we will destroy every human colony. We will burn your ships. We will hunt down every man, woman, and child until your species is just a memory." Morrison stepped forward. "And if we agree to your terms, then you live as prisoners on your own world. You will never leave your system again. You will serve us when we need you to serve us." "That's not much of a choice," Morrison said quietly. "It is the only choice you have," the Emperor replied. "You have 7 days to decide. Choose wisely, human general. Your species depends on it." The screen went black. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Commander Alex Stone, Morrison's tactical officer, broke the silence. "Sir, what do we do?" Morrison looked at each of his officers. These were good people who had followed him through hell and back. Lisa Brooks had saved his life 3 times in the Proxima Wars. Alex Stone was the best tactical mind he had ever worked with. Dr. Kate Phillips had patched up more wounded soldiers than anyone should have to. They deserved better than surrender. "We prepare for war," Morrison said simply. "Sir, the Zephyrians have ships we've never seen before," said Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster from her intelligence station. "Their technology is decades ahead of ours, maybe centuries." "Their technology is different," Morrison corrected. "That doesn't make it better. It just makes it different." He walked to the tactical display and activated it. A 3-dimensional map of the local star systems appeared in the air above the table. Red dots showed Zephyrian positions. Blue dots showed human colonies. "They think we're weak because we're not like them," Morrison said. "They build bigger guns and stronger armor. They think that makes them superior. But they forgot something important." "What's that, sir?" asked Captain Brooks. "We're human," Morrison replied. "We don't just fight harder. We fight smarter." He touched the display, and the map changed to show the Defiance and the surrounding space. "They're going to send assassins. Probably their best killers. They want to cut off the head before the body can fight back." "How do you know?" asked Dr. Phillips. "Because it's what I would do," Morrison said. "Take out the command structure. Make the enemy panic. Force them to surrender without a real fight." He smiled. But it wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of a predator who had found prey. But here's what they don't know about humans, he continued. We don't panic. We don't surrender. And we really don't like bullies. Morrison turned to his officers. Alex, I want you to review every file we have on Zephyrian military tactics. Focus on their special forces. Amy, dig up everything you can about their assassination methods. Kate, make sure the medical bay is ready for wounded. What about you, sir? Asked Captain Brooks. I'm going to prepare a welcome party, Morrison said. If Emperor Thexkar wants to send his killers after us, that's fine. But I'm going to make sure they get a proper reception. He looked back at the viewing screen, which now showed the planet again. Somewhere out there, alien ships were already moving. Somewhere out there, the Emperor's best killers were getting ready to strike. Lisa, send a message to all human colonies, Morrison ordered. Tell them to prepare for attack. Tell them to be ready. What should we tell them about our response, sir? Morrison's gray eyes grew hard. Tell them that humanity doesn't bow to anyone. Tell them that we'll fight for every world, every colony, every person. Tell them that the Zephyrians picked the wrong species to threaten. As his officers went to work, Morrison remained at the viewing screen. He had fought aliens before, but never ones like these. The Zephyrians were bigger, stronger, and more advanced than humans. They had weapons that could destroy planets and ships that could cross the galaxy in days. But they had made one mistake. They had given humans time to prepare. And when humans had time to prepare, they became very dangerous indeed. Morrison touched the communicator on his collar. All senior staff, report to conference room 1 in 30 minutes. We have work to do. The Emperor had sent his ultimatum. Now it was time to show him what humans did to bullies who threatened their families. The war was about to begin. 3 days had passed since the Emperor's ultimatum. General Morrison had not slept more than 2 hours at a time, but his mind was sharper than ever. He stood in his ready room, studying the holographic display that showed the ship's deck plans. Red lines marked the routes he expected the assassins to take. Blue lines showed where he would position his traps. Sir, we're detecting energy signatures, Captain Brooks called from the bridge. Unknown ships, 3 light minutes out and closing fast. Morrison activated his communicator. All hands, battle stations. This is not a drill. The ship's alarms began to sound. Throughout the Defiance, human soldiers ran to their positions. But Morrison knew the real battle would not be fought with ship weapons. It would be fought in the corridors and rooms of his own vessel. They're not going to attack the ship, he said into his communicator. They're going to try to board us. Remember what we practiced. Morrison left his ready room and walked to the command deck. His officers were already at their stations, but something was different. The usual banks of computers and control panels had been changed. New equipment sat where old equipment used to be. Hidden panels covered weapons that had never been there before. Kate, are you ready? Morrison asked Dr. Phillips. Medical bay is prepared, sir, but I still think this is crazy. Alex, status. Report. Commander Stone checked his instruments. All trap systems are online, sir. Gravity manipulators are charged. Force fields are ready. Hidden weapons are armed. Amy, what do you know about their boarding tactics? Lieutenant Colonel Foster pulled up a holographic display. The Void Reapers always use the same pattern, sir. They teleport directly to the command center. They kill all the officers first, then work their way through the ship. They never leave survivors. Good, Morrison said. That means they'll come right to us. Captain Brooks looked confused. Sir, shouldn't we be trying to keep them away from the command center? No, Morrison replied. We want them here. This is where we'll finish them. The ship shuddered slightly. Morrison looked at the main screen and saw 12 small shapes moving away from a larger ship that had appeared near them. The shapes were moving fast, much faster than any human shuttle. "Boarding pods," said Stone. "They'll be here in 2 minutes." Morrison nodded. "Remember, everyone, stay calm, follow the plan, and don't try to be heroes. These things have killed thousands of soldiers who are braver than us. Then how do we beat them?" asked Dr. Phillips. "We don't try to be braver," Morrison said. "We try to be smarter." The lights on the command deck dimmed. Emergency lighting came on, casting strange shadows across the room. Morrison had planned this too. The aliens would expect bright lights and clear targets. Instead, they would find darkness and confusion. "Here they come," said Brooks. The air in the center of the command deck began to shimmer. Then, with a sound, like tearing metal, 12 figures appeared. They were tall and thin, like the Emperor, but these creatures were different. They wore black armor that seemed to absorb light. Their faces were hidden behind masks that glowed with red light. One carried weapons that hummed with deadly energy. The leader of the group, taller than the others, stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice was like grinding stone. "I am Kethvar, First Blade of the Void Reapers. You will surrender now, or you will die slowly." Morrison stepped out of the shadows. "I'm General Jake Morrison, and I have a better idea." "You have no ideas, human. You have only death." "Maybe," Morrison said, "but first, let me show you something." He pressed a button on his wrist communicator. Instantly, the floor around 6 of the assassins became transparent. The aliens found themselves standing on force fields over empty space. They could see the stars below them through the hull of the ship. "What is this?" Keth demanded. "Human. Engineering," Morrison replied. He pressed another button. The force fields disappeared. 6 of the Void Reapers fell through the floor into the space between decks. Emergency force fields snapped back into place, trapping them in narrow spaces where they could not move or use their weapons effectively. "Impossible," Kethver said. "Your technology cannot do this." "You're right," Morrison said. "Our normal technology can't. But we've had 3 days to prepare. Do you know what humans can do in 3 days when they're motivated?" The remaining 6 assassins raised their weapons. Morrison dove behind a console just as energy beams cut through the air where he had been standing. But the beams did not go where the aliens expected. Hidden deflector shields bounced the energy. Back at the attackers, 2 more Void Reapers fell, their own weapons having turned against them. "Alex, now!" Morrison shouted. Commander Stone activated the gravity manipulators. The remaining 4 assassins suddenly found themselves pressed against the ceiling with 3 times normal gravity. Their heavy armor, which protected them from most weapons, now worked against them. "You fight without honor," Kethver gasped from the ceiling. "We fight to win," Morrison replied. "There's a difference." He drew his sidearm and fired. The bullets were not normal bullets. They were made from depleted uranium and had been specifically designed to penetrate alien armor. One of the assassins stopped moving. The gravity returned to normal, and the 3 remaining Void Reapers fell to the floor. But they were not defeated. They moved faster than Morrison had expected, rolling and coming up with their weapons ready. "Kate, Lisa, get to cover," Morrison shouted. Dr. Phillips and Captain Brooks dove behind protective barriers that had been built into the command deck. These were new additions, made from the strongest materials the humans had. Morrison ran across the deck, drawing the aliens' fire. Energy beams followed him, but he knew exactly where to run. He had planned every step. Behind him, the aliens. Weapons struck hidden sensors that activated more traps. Metal cables, thin as wire but strong as steel, shot out from the walls. They wrapped around the legs of 2 assassins, pulling them off balance. Morrison spun and fired again. His bullets found their mark. Only Kethvar remained. The alien leader stood in the center of the command deck, looking at the bodies of his soldiers. For the first time, Morrison heard something in the creature's voice that sounded almost like fear. "This is not possible," Kethvar said. "We are the Void Reapers. We do not fail. We do not die." "You do today," Morrison replied. He raised his weapon, but the alien was faster. Kethvar's energy sword appeared in his hand, and he charged. Morrison barely had time to dodge. The alien's weapon cut through the air where his head had been. Morrison rolled and came up near the tactical display. Kethvar followed, moving with deadly grace. The alien's sword cut through equipment and control panels as if they were made of paper. "You cannot run forever, human," Kethvar said. "I'm not running," Morrison replied. "I'm leading." He pressed one final button on his wrist communicator. The deck plates around Kethvar suddenly became electrified. The alien's armor, which protected him from energy weapons, conducted electricity perfectly. Kethvar screamed and fell to his knees. Morrison stood over the defeated assassin. "Your emperor made a mistake. He thought humans were weak because we're not like you. But he was wrong. We're not weak. We're just different." Kethvar looked up at him. You planned all of this?" "Every detail," Morrison said. "From the moment we got your emperor's message, we've been ready for you." The alien's weapon fell from his hand. "Impossible. No one defeats the Void Reapers." "Someone just did," Morrison replied. "And now I'm going to send your emperor a message he'll never forget." General Morrison stood in the ship's medical bay, watching Dr. Kate Phillips work on the wounded Void Reaper. Kethvar was still alive, but barely. The alien's armor had been removed, showing gray skin covered with scars and metal implants. His yellow eyes followed Morrison's every movement. "He'll live," Dr. Phillips said quietly. "But he's not going to be happy about it." "Good," Morrison replied. "I need him alive for what comes next." In the corner of the medical bay, Captain Brooks was setting up a recording device. The camera would capture everything Morrison was about to do. The Emperor needed to see it all. "Sir, Sergeant Turner is ready in the cargo bay," Brooks reported. "He's prepared the other bodies as you requested," Morrison nodded. Ben Turner was the best demolitions expert in the human fleet, but he was also good at taking things apart. "Very good. Bring our guest," Morrison said. The two Marines carefully moved Kethvar to a wheelchair. The alien was too weak to walk, but his eyes still burned with hate. They wheeled him through the ship's corridors toward the cargo bay. "Why do you not kill me?" Kethvar asked. His voice was weak, but still dangerous. "Because you're going to." "Help me send a message," Morrison replied. "Your emperor thinks humans are weak. I'm going to show him how wrong he is." They reached the cargo bay. Morrison had turned it into something between a classroom and a morgue. The bodies of 11 Void Reapers lay on metal tables. Each one had been carefully taken apart. Their armor was in neat piles. Their weapons were disassembled and analyzed. Their cybernetic implants were removed and catalogued. Kethvar's eyes went wide. "What have you done?" "I've learned," Morrison said. "Do you know what humans do when we encounter something new? We study it. We take it apart. We figure out how it works, and then we make it work better." Morrison walked to the first table. "This was Zexmar, wasn't it? Your weapons specialist. Look at this energy rifle. Very advanced, very deadly, but it has a weakness." He held up a small component. "This power coupling can be overloaded if you know the right frequency. One electromagnetic pulse at exactly 2.7 gigahertz, and the weapon explodes in the user's hands." Kethvar said nothing, but Morrison could see the fear growing in his eyes. "Then this," Morrison continued, moving to the next table. was your stealth expert, invisible to most sensors. But not to all sensors. Your cloaking device works by bending light around the user, but it can't bend heat. Infrared scanners see you perfectly. Morrison moved from table to table, explaining how each Void Reaper had been defeated. He showed the weaknesses in their armor, the flaws in their weapons, the gaps in their training. With each explanation, Kethver seemed to shrink further into his wheelchair. But the most interesting thing, Morrison said, is this. He walked to a computer terminal and activated it. The screen showed a complex diagram of alien biology. Your species has been modified for war. Stronger muscles, faster reflexes, enhanced senses. Very impressive. But you've lost something important. What? Kethver whispered. The ability to adapt, Morrison replied. You've been bred to follow orders, to use specific tactics, to never question your methods. You're perfect soldiers, but you're not fighters. Morrison gestured to the bodies around them. Every one of these warriors was stronger than me, faster than me, better trained than me. But they all did exactly what I expected them to do. They followed their programming. He leaned closer to Kethver. Humans don't have programming. We have imagination. We have the ability to think of new solutions to old problems. That's what makes us dangerous. Morrison walked to another terminal and activated it. This one showed star charts, ship designs, and military formations. Your interrogation was very helpful, by the way. I know you didn't mean to tell me anything, but pain makes people talkative, even aliens. The screen showed detailed information about the Zephyrian Empire. Military bases, fleet positions, weapon capabilities, command structures. Morrison had learned it all from the captured alien. This is impossible, Kethver said. Our interrogation techniques are foolproof. Your techniques work on your own. People, Morrison replied. But they don't work on humans. We single quotes read ... different. Our minds work differently. Our pain responses are different. Our loyalty structures are different. He touched the screen, and the display changed to show human colony. Worlds. Your emperor wants to destroy these worlds. He wants to kill billions of people because he thinks we're weak. But he's about to learn something important about humans. What? Kethver asked. When you threaten our families, we don't get weaker. We get stronger. Much stronger. Morrison walked to the center of the cargo bay. Captain Brooks, start recording. I want the Emperor to see all of this. The camera activated. Morrison stood among the dissected bodies of the Void Reapers, looking directly into the lens. Emperor Thexkar, he began, you sent me your best killers. Thank you. They were very educational. I've learned a great deal about your military capabilities, your technology, and your weaknesses. All of this information is now being shared with every human colony and every human ship. He gestured to the bodies around him. Your Void Reapers were impressive warriors, but they made one mistake. They underestimated humans. They thought we would be easy prey. They were wrong. Morrison picked up one of the alien weapons. This rifle can punch through 6 inches of steel, but it can't punch through human ingenuity. This armor can stop a plasma blast, but it can't stop human determination. These implants can enhance strength and speed, but they can't enhance wisdom. He set the weapon down and looked directly at the camera. You gave me 7 days to surrender. I'm giving you 7 days to reconsider. Withdraw your fleets from human space. Leave our colonies alone. Go back to your own worlds and stay there. Morrison's voice grew harder. If you refuse, I will show you what humans do to bullies who threaten our children. I will show you what happens when you make an enemy of a species that survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and the emptiness of space itself. He walked closer to the camera. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the fastest or the most advanced, but we are the most stubborn. We are the most determined. And we are the most dangerous when we are angry. Morrison looked at Kethfer. Your surviving assassin will be returned to you with this message. He will tell you about human ingenuity. He will tell you about human determination. And he will tell you about human mercy. Mercy? Kethfer said. Yes, Morrison replied. Mercy. I could have killed you. I could have tortured you. I could have made you suffer, as you have made countless others suffer. But I didn't. Do you know why? Kethfer shook his head. Because humans are better than that. We fight when we must. We kill when we have to. But we don't enjoy it. We don't make it into a game. We don't make it into an art form. Morrison turned back to the camera. That's the difference between us and you, Emperor. You kill because you enjoy it. We kill because we have to. You conquer because you're greedy. We fight because we're protecting something. He paused, letting his words sink in. You have 6 days left to make your choice. Choose wisely. The camera stopped recording. Morrison looked at Kethfer one more. Time. Your Emperor sent killers. I'm sending him back pieces. But I'm also sending him a choice. He can have peace or he can have war. But he can't have both. Morrison turned to Captain Brooks. Prepare a shuttle. Send our guest home with the recording and the bodies. Make sure the Emperor gets everything. As the Marines wheeled Kethvar away, Morrison remained in the cargo bay. Around him, the dissected remains of the Void Reapers served as a reminder of what humans could do when they were pushed too far. The Emperor had wanted to make an example of humanity. Instead, he had made humanity angry. And angry humans were the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. Emperor Thexkar stood in his throne room, staring at the boxes that had been delivered to his flagship. 12 containers, each one holding the remains of a Void Reaper. The recording device sat on a small table nearby, its message already played 3 times. Impossible, the Emperor whispered. His hands shook with rage. No one kills the Void Reapers. No one. Admiral Vexter, commander of the 5th Fleet, stood at attention nearby. The massive alien warrior had never seen his Emperor so angry. Thexkar's yellow eyes glowed brighter than usual, and his claws had extended from his fingertips. My Emperor, Vexter said carefully, the human general has made a mistake. He has shown us his capabilities too early. Now we know what we face. What we face? Thexkar turned on his admiral. We face a species that just butchered my best assassins. We face creatures that think they can mock the eternal empire. The Emperor activated a holographic display. It showed Morrison's recorded message frozen on the human general's face. Thexkar's claws cut through the air where the image stood. Look at him, the Emperor snarled. Look at this soft, weak creature. He thinks he has won something. He thinks he can threaten me. Sir, Vexter said, perhaps we should consider the humans' offer. Withdraw from their space. Avoid a war that might be costly nitrogen monoxide. Thexkar's roar echoed through the throne room. I am Emperor Thexkar the Eternal. I do not retreat from inferior species. I do not negotiate with prey. He turned to his admiral. Mobilize the entire 5th Fleet. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. I want those human colonies turned to ash. I want their ships broken into scrap metal. I want this Morrison brought to me alive so I can show him what happens to those who dare mock the Empire. Vexter bowed. It will be done, my Emperor. How many ships shall we deploy? All of them, Thexkar said. 200 warships, planet crackers, gravity bombs, hunter-killer swarms. I want overwhelming force. I want the humans to see their doom coming from 1,000 light years away. The Admiral left to carry out his orders. Within hours, the largest fleet in Zephyrian history was moving toward human space. The ships were massive, dark vessels that could cross the galaxy in days. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a planet. But 3 systems away, General Morrison was not waiting passively for the attack. He stood in the communications center of the Defiance, speaking to every human ship captain in the fleet. "The intelligence we gathered from the Void Reapers has been distributed to all vessels," Morrison said. "You now know exactly how their ships work, how their weapons function, and most importantly, how they think." On the screen, Captain Pete Davis of the cruiser UES Vigilant nodded. "Sir, these specifications show weaknesses we never knew existed. Their ship designs are powerful, but predictable. That's the key word," Morrison replied. Predictable. The Zephyrians have used the same tactics for centuries because they've always worked. But they've never faced an enemy that could adapt faster than they could adjust. Major Ryan Clark, communications officer for the fleet, brought up a tactical display. "Sir, we're detecting the Zephyrian fleet. 200 ships, just like you predicted. They're using standard battle formation Alpha 7. Morrison smiled. "Of course they are. It's their favorite formation for overwhelming inferior enemies. The problem is, we're not inferior. We're just different." He activated the fleet-wide communication system. "All ships, implement Plan Prometheus. Remember, we're not trying to match them ship for ship. We're trying to outthink them." The human fleet began to move. 50 ships against 200 seemed impossible. But Morrison had learned something important from studying the Void Reapers. The Zephyrians always fought the same way. They relied on superior firepower and numbers. They never expected their enemies to be clever. "Amy," Morrison said to Lieutenant Colonel Foster, "what's the status on the psychological warfare program?" "Ready to deploy, sir. We've analyzed their command structure and identified their weakness points. The Zephyrians follow strict hierarchy. If we can disrupt their command chain, their entire fleet will be confused." Morrison nodded. "Alex, are the trap mines in position?" Commander Stone checked his instruments. "Yes, sir. Hidden throughout the asteroid field near Kepler 442b. The Zephyrians will never see them coming." The battle began 12 hours later. The Zephyrian fleet arrived in the Kepler system in perfect formation, just as Morrison had expected. Admiral Vexter's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, led the attack. A massive vessel was 5 miles long and carried enough weapons to destroy a moon. "Human ships detected," reported the Zephyrian sensor officer. 50 vessels in defensive positions around the planet. Vexter studied the tactical display. The human formation looked wrong somehow. Too spread out, too vulnerable. They're trying to protect their colony. Typical weak thinking. Begin the attack. Target their largest ships first. But when the Zephyrian fleet moved forward, the humans did something unexpected. Instead of standing and fighting, they scattered. The human ships broke formation and ran in different directions. "Cowards," Vexter said. "They flee before our might. Pursue them. Destroy them all." The Zephyrian fleet split up to chase the human ships. This was exactly what Morrison had hoped for. The aliens' perfect formation was broken. Their ships were now spread across the system, isolated and vulnerable. "Now," Morrison said quietly, hidden throughout the asteroid field, thousands of small mines activated. They had been placed there weeks ago, disguised as space debris. When the Zephyrian ships passed by, the mines attached themselves to the alien. Hulls dot the mines didn't explode. Instead, they began broadcasting signals. Radio waves, electromagnetic pulses, sensor ghosts. Suddenly, every Zephyrian ship was surrounded by false signals that confused their instruments. "What is happening?" Vexter demanded. "Why can't we target the human ships?" "Unknown interference, sir," his sensor officer replied. "Our targeting Systems are being jammed by some kind of electronic warfare. Morrison's voice suddenly filled the Zephyrian command bridge. Somehow, the human general had taken control of their communication system. "Admiral Vexter," Morrison said, "I believe we need to talk." "Impossible," Vexter said. "Our communications are secure." "Nothing is secure from humans who have time to prepare," Morrison replied. "Did you really think we spent the last week sitting around doing nothing?" On Vexter's tactical display, the human ships suddenly reappeared. But they weren't running away anymore. They were in attack positions, surrounding small groups of Zephyrian vessels. "Your Emperor made a mistake," Morrison continued. "He thought superior numbers would be enough. But numbers don't matter if you can't coordinate them. And right now, half your fleet can't even talk to the other half." Vexter looked at his communication officer. "Is this true?" "Yes, sir. Something is blocking our command frequencies. Orders aren't getting through to our outer ships." Morrison's laugh echoed through the bridge. "Welcome to human warfare, Admiral. We don't just fight with guns and missiles. We fight with ideas. And right now, my idea is working better than your plan." The first Zephyrian ship exploded moments later, then another. The human vessels, working in small groups, were picking off isolated alien ships. Without coordination, the mighty Zephyrian fleet was just a collection of individual targets. "All ships return to formation," Vexter ordered. But his orders couldn't get through the electromagnetic interference. "You're learning," Morrison said, "but you're learning too slowly. Let me teach you something else about humans. We don't just adapt to your tactics. We anticipate them." More Zephyrian ships exploded. The humans were using weapons the aliens had never seen before. Missiles that changed direction in flight. Energy. Beams that cut through shields like they weren't there. Boarding pods that delivered not soldiers, but computer viruses that shut down alien systems. "This is not possible," Vexter said. "Our technology is superior. Our ships are stronger." "Your technology is older," Morrison corrected. "You've been using the same designs for centuries. But humans have been improving our technology every year for the last 1,000 years. Evolution versus stagnation. Guess who wins?" Vexter watched his fleet being torn apart by smaller, weaker ships that somehow seemed to know his every move before he made it. For the first time in his military career, the Admiral felt something he had never experienced before: fear. The space around Kepler 442b was filled with the wreckage of alien ships. 70 Zephyrian vessels had been destroyed, and more were damaged and drifting. Admiral Vexter's mighty fleet was scattered and broken. But the worst was yet to come. "General." Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the massive shape of the Emperor's flagship approach. The Eternal Dominion was bigger than any human ship, bristling with weapons that could crack planets in half. But Morrison was not afraid. "Sir," Captain Brooks said, "the Emperor's ship is moving into position." "They're targeting us directly." "Good," Morrison replied. "That's exactly where I want them." On the main screen, Emperor Thexkar's face appeared. The alien ruler looked furious, his yellow eyes blazing with hate. Behind him, Morrison could see the bridge of the Eternal Dominion. It was huge and dark, filled with alien technology. "Human," the Emperor snarled, "you have destroyed my fleet. You have humiliated my admiral. You have made a mockery of the Eternal Empire. For this, you will suffer for 1,000 years before I allow you to die." "I don't think so," Morrison said calmly. "I think you're going to surrender." Thexkar's laugh was like breaking glass. "Surrender? To you? You command one small ship. I command a vessel that could destroy your entire world." "Size isn't everything," Morrison replied. "Let me show you something." The main screen split. On one side was the Emperor's angry face. On the other side was Kethfor, the surviving Void Reaper. The alien assassin sat in what looked like a comfortable room aboard the Defiance. "Tell your Emperor what you've learned about humans," Morrison said. Kethfor looked at the screen with eyes that were no longer filled with hate. Instead, there was something else there, something that looked almost like respect. "My Emperor," Kethfor said slowly, "these humans are not what we thought. They are not weak. They are not soft. They are ... different." "What are you saying?" Thexkar demanded. "I have watched them for days," Kethvar continued. "I have seen how they think, how they solve problems, how they treat their enemies. They defeated the Void Reapers not with superior strength, but with superior planning. They destroyed our fleet not with bigger weapons, but with better tactics." The assassin paused. "My Emperor, they did not torture me. They did not force information from me with pain. Instead, they showed me things. They showed me human history, human achievements, human failures, and how they learned from them." "You have been corrupted," Thexkar said. "The humans have poisoned your mind with their weakness." "No," Kethvar said. "They have shown me strength. Real strength. The strength to change, to grow, to become better. Something we have forgotten how to do." Morrison stepped forward. "Your empire has been the same for 1,000 years, Thexkar. Same tactics, same technology, same thinking. You've become stagnant. But humans never stop changing, never stop improving." "We are perfect as we are," the Emperor replied. "Perfect?" Morrison smiled. "Then why are 70 of your ships floating dead in space? Why is your mighty admiral hiding behind his remaining vessels? Why is your most elite assassin sitting in my conference room drinking human coffee and asking questions about our culture?" Thexkar's face grew even more angry. "Enough! I will destroy you and your ship with my own weapons. I will show you the true power of the Eternal Empire." "Actually," Morrison said, "I have a better idea. Single combat. You and me. Winner takes all." The Emperor's eyes widened in surprise. "What? You heard me. You want to prove that your species is superior to mine? Then prove it. Fight me yourself. No ships, no weapons, no technology. Just you and me." Thexkar laughed. "You are joking. I am enhanced with cybernetic implants. I have the strength of 10 warriors. My claws can cut through metal. My speed is beyond your comprehension." "And yet," Morrison said, "your best killers are dead, and your fleet is defeated. Maybe your enhancements aren't as good as you think they are." The Emperor's pride would not let him refuse. Morrison had known this would happen. Aliens like Thexkar could not resist a direct challenge to their superiority. "Very well," the Emperor said. "I will kill you with my bare hands. And when you are dead, I will destroy every human world in the galaxy." "And if I win?" Morrison asked. "You will not win." "But if I do?" Thexkar paused. "If you somehow defeat me, the Empire will withdraw from human space. But this will not happen. You are small and weak and slow." Morrison nodded. "Agreed. Meet me in your cargo bay. Come alone." The connection ended. Captain Brooks stared at Morrison in shock. "Sir, you can't be serious." "He's right about his enhancements. He really is stronger and faster than any human." "I know," Morrison said, "but he's not smarter, and he's not angrier." Morrison left the bridge and walked to the shuttle bay. He was not wearing armor or carrying weapons, just his normal uniform and his determination to protect humanity. The shuttle flight to the Emperor's ship was short. When Morrison arrived at the Eternal Dominion's cargo bay, he found Thexkar waiting for him. The alien Emperor was even more impressive in person, nearly 8 feet tall, with muscles enhanced by technology and claws that gleamed like knives. "You are smaller than I expected," Dexcar said. Size isn't everything, Morrison replied. I thought we established that. The cargo bay was huge and empty, except for the two opponents. Morrison looked around and smiled. The Emperor had chosen the location, but he had chosen poorly. The bay was full of things Morrison could use. Are you ready to die, human? Dexcar asked. Are you ready to learn why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy? Morrison replied. The Emperor attacked without warning. He moved faster than Morrison had expected, crossing the distance between them in seconds. His claws cut through the air where Morrison's head had been, but Morrison was not there anymore. He had rolled to the side and grabbed a piece of metal debris from the floor. When Dexcar spun to follow him, Morrison threw the metal like a projectile. It struck the Emperor in the chest, denting his armor. Impossible, Dexcar said. No human is that fast. You're right, Morrison said, backing away. No human is as fast as you. But humans don't fight fair. Morrison grabbed a cargo cable and swung it like a whip. The heavy metal end struck Dexcar in the face, staggering him. The Emperor roared and charged again, but Morrison was already moving. The fight continued for 10 minutes. Dexcar was stronger, faster, and more durable than Morrison. But Morrison was smarter, more creative, and more desperate. He used everything in the cargo bay as a weapon. Cables, containers, even the artificial gravity controls. Finally, Morrison managed to wrap a cargo cable around the Emperor's legs. When Dexcar fell, Morrison was ready. He had found something in the corner of the bay that would end the fight. It was a portable welding torch, used for ship repairs. Morrison activated it and held the blue flame near the Emperor's throat. Yield, Morrison said. Dexcar lay on the floor, breathing hard. His yellow eyes stared up at Morrison with something the Emperor had never felt before. Defeat. How? Dexcar whispered. Because I had something to fight for, Morrison said. You were fighting for pride. I was fighting for my species. For billions of humans who deserve to live among the stars. That makes all the difference. Morrison stepped back and turned off the torch. The fight is over. You lost. Honor your agreement. Dexcar slowly stood up. For a moment, Morrison thought the alien might attack again. But instead, the Emperor bowed his head. I will honor the agreement, Dexcar said. The Empire will withdraw from human space. Morrison nodded. And the war? There will be no war, the Emperor replied. But tell me, human, what happens now? My people will not follow a leader who has been defeated. Morrison looked at the alien ruler. Then maybe it's time for your people to learn what humans learned long ago. That strength comes not from conquering others, but from growing and changing together. He gestured toward the cargo bay doors. You're welcome to join us in exploring the galaxy. As equals, not as conquerors. There's room for everyone among the stars. Dexcar considered this. And if we refuse? Then you go back to your own worlds. And stay there, Morrison said. But I think some of your people might be interested in a different way. Kethver certainly is. Morrison walked toward his shuttle. The choice is yours, Dexcar, but choose carefully. The galaxy is changing. You can change with it, or be left behind. As Morrison's shuttle returned to the Defiance, he looked out at the stars. The immediate threat was over, but he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself among the stars. Now they had to prove they could build something better than an Empire dot behind him. The alien fleet was already beginning to withdraw. Some ships turned toward Zephyrian space, but others, Morrison noticed, remained behind. Perhaps Kethver was not the only alien who was ready for change. The age of human expansion had begun, and for the first time in 1,000 years, it would be an expansion built on hope rather than conquest.